You know, if you live in a place that gets extreme heat, your air conditioner isn't just about comfort. It's basically a frontline soldier in a war against the sun. And trust me, understanding that fight is the secret to keeping your cool and, frankly, keeping your money in your wallet. So let's take a look at the battlefield.
See this number? That's not some crazy once-in-a-decade heat wave. In the desert, that's just a regular afternoon. This is the reality your AC unit is up against, day in, day out. So in this explainer, we're going to break down what that really means for what is probably the most important appliance in your house. And that is not me being dramatic. We're literally talking about a battle between a piece of sophisticated technology and one of the harshest environments on the planet. And like any battle, you've got to know your enemy, the heat, the dust, the nonstop stress, if you want any chance of winning.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll get a handle on the insane demands desert heat puts on your system. Then we'll walk through the 4 most common ways these systems fail. But we're not going to just leave you at the problems. We'll cover a really important rule to help you decide when to repair or replace, and finally, how you can plan ahead and actually win this thing.
All right, let's dive right in. Why is an AC unit in a hot, dry climate playing a completely different sport than one somewhere mild, maybe by the coast? Well, the challenges are just on another level.
I mean, just look at the difference here. It's staggering. A coastal unit might run a few hours a day. It gets breaks. A desert unit? It can run almost nonstop from May all the way through October, and it has to deal with these brutal 40-degree temperature swings every single day, which causes all the parts to constantly expand and contract. And then there's the dust, a relentless fine powder that gets into everything.
And that dust? It's an absolute efficiency killer. It clogs up filters, sure, but it also coats all the critical coils in your outdoor unit. If you're not keeping up with maintenance, that dust alone can chop your system's efficiency by a whopping 30%. Think about that. That's like taking 30 cents out of every dollar you spend on cooling and just, poof, throwing it away. So when you put any machine under that much constant pressure, things are going to break. But here's the thing. The failures aren't random. They are totally predictable. Let's break down the 4 most common ways your AC is going to tell you it needs help.
First up, the big one, the compressor. You have to think of this as the heart of your entire system. In that crazy heat, it's working overtime just to pump heat out of your house, and its own internal temperature can get dangerously high. A compressor that might last 15, maybe 20 years somewhere else can easily die in under 10 years in the desert.
This is where you really need to use your ears. Is your unit making a stuttering sound when it tries to kick on? Are you hearing new grinding or squealing that wasn't there last year? Or does the air coming out of the vents just feel kind of lukewarm? These are all urgent signs that the heart of your system is in serious trouble.
All right, next on our list, refrigerant leaks. Remember those huge 40-degree temperature swings we talked about? All that expanding and contracting day after day puts a ton of stress on every single joint and seal in the system. Over time, they just weaken, and that vital refrigerant, the lifeblood of the system, starts to leak out.
Now, a leak can be pretty sneaky. You might just notice that your AC seems to be running constantly, or that it just can't seem to cool the house down on those really hot days. But the #1 clue is often your energy bill slowly creeping higher and higher because the system is working twice as hard to get the same results.
Our third failure brings us right back to that relentless desert dust. When fine layers of sand and dirt build up on the outdoor coils, it acts like a thick winter blanket. It literally traps heat inside the unit, preventing it from escaping. Your AC is essentially trying to breathe, and it's choking on dust.
And this one is a true silent killer of your budget. You probably won't hear it, and you might not even feel a big change in the cooling at first. The very first place you'll see this problem is right on your utility bill. If those costs are just steadily climbing for no good reason, dirty coils are a prime suspect.
And finally, #4, capacitor burnout. The easiest way to think of a capacitor is that it delivers the jolt of electricity to get the whole thing started, like a shot of adrenaline for the motors. But the combination of that intense desert heat and just running all the time, it burns these components out super fast.
The signs of a bad capacitor are usually pretty clear. You'll hear a click from the outdoor unit and then nothing. Or maybe a low humming sound, but you can see the fan blades aren't moving. This is one of the most common failures, but there's good news. If you catch it, it's usually a relatively cheap and quick fix. Okay, so we've talked about all the ways things can go wrong. Now, let's switch gears and talk about what to do about it. When you're facing a big repair bill, you have to ask the million-dollar question. Do I fix it, or is it time to replace the whole thing? Well, there's a really powerful little rule that pros use to answer that exact question. It's called the $5,000 rule. And its whole point is to give you a simple, math-based way to avoid throwing good money into a system that's on its last legs anyway.
And here's how easy it is. You take the age of your AC unit in years, and you multiply it by the estimated cost of the repair. That's it. If the number you get is over 5,000, it's a really strong sign that you should probably be looking at a full replacement instead of just another patch job.
Let's use a real-world example. So you've got a 12-year-old system, which is getting pretty old for a desert unit, and it needs a $500 repair. Okay, let's do the math. 12 times 500 is $6,000. Well, that's over our $5,000 threshold. The rule is basically telling you that this $500 repair is probably just the first of many, and a full replacement is the smarter long-term investment.
And that brings us perfectly into our final section, winning the long game. Because the smartest strategy isn't about reacting to problems when they happen, it's about being proactive and planning ahead. That's how you save serious money, time, and a whole lot of stress.
First, you just have to know the financial landscape. As you can see, the costs are all over the place. A simple capacitor fix is pretty manageable. A major compressor repair, well, that starts to get pretty pricey. And a full system replacement is obviously a major home investment. Knowing these ballpark figures is key to planning.
And when it does come time to make that big investment, timing is absolutely everything. This advice right here is maybe the most valuable takeaway for any homeowner in a hot climate. Do not, I repeat, do not wait for your AC to die in the middle of July.
So why is the off-season so much better? It's pretty simple. For one, HVAC contractors aren't slammed with emergency calls, so they actually have time for you. You can often find great off-season discounts and even manufacture rebates you wouldn't get in the summer. And most importantly, you get to avoid making a panicked, expensive decision while your family is roasting in a 95-degree house.
So this all leaves us with one final question for you to really think about. After everything we've gone over, take a good, honest look at your own system. Is it a reliable asset that's protecting your home, or is it an aging, inefficient machine that's basically a ticking time bomb, just waiting to become a very, very expensive liability? The choice, ultimately, is yours.